Hey there, hi, how are you? I'm the Geek with the Gab. I think we all remember exactly where we were the first time we heard about the timeless classic, Bodycount. Huh. I hope that wasn't foreshadowing. Anyways, this barely advertised first-person shooter hit shelves in August of 2011, and it wasn't well received. Oh well, it's not like it put a whole bunch of people out of... Wow. Alright, well, it's not all bad. I mean, sometimes you can find a diamond in the rough. Something that slipped by unnoticed. I mean, Okami was a big disappointment at launch, and it's one of my all-time favorite games. So let's go ahead and dive in head first and see what Codemaster's 2011 game, Bodycount, has to offer. Now, one of the things we'll notice right away is that not a whole lot of time was taken on the plot.
At the network, we don't just believe in words, we believe in action. We believe the world needs solutions. We believe the solution is you.
That's not a story game. That's a concept. But whatever. Plot can wait. Some shady government organization has to drop our main character out of a plane in a remote-controlled egg. As some voice in his ear that, for whatever reason, messes up the minimap, expresses surprise that he survived the drop.
Stats coming through and... oh, you're alive.
A red flag if ever I heard one. She tells him to make his way to a hotel room to get his orders. Just make sure to gun down anyone in the way. The enemies in this area come in two flavors. Militia and military. And the only thing they seem to hate more than each other is our main character. Right from the moment he hits the ground, they will pursue each other mercilessly until they catch sight of him. And then it's open season. I don't know if he has a swastika tattooed on his forehead or if he's wearing that sandwich board from Die Hard with a Vengeance. Those little blue circles they bleed are called intel, by the way. They're used to power special abilities. But seeing as our hero does not have any special abilities at this point, they're useless. Don't hold your breath for when they do come, though. They range from forgettable to useless. The controls are almost alright. Sure, jump, shoot, aim, reload, they're all exactly where you'd expect them to be, but aim is, I believe the technical term is, screwed up. In most games that allow you to aim down the iron sights, you're still given pretty free motion while you're doing so. You might slow down a little bit to simulate the extra concentration needed to do so, to squeeze off those accurate shots in an intense firefight as you're moving behind cover, but you're still able to move. In Bodycount, though, our main character apparently grows roots. Yeah, running across a battlefield, bullets whizzing past his head, he decides to stop and just kind of camp out there, right in the middle of the field. Oh, but staying completely motionless would be stupid. So, left and right on the thumbstick makes you lean. That's right, it activates the smooth criminal simulation. I did this intentionally about 3 times over the course of the game. I did it accidentally more times than I could possibly count. Honestly, this is one of the main issues with the game. A lot of the stuff either feels like it was never tested, or it was never polished. This particular mechanic, I can't even tell what they were going for with it. It doesn't even sound like a good idea in a first-person shooter. I can see it maybe in a third-person shooter kind of peeking out from behind cover or whatever, but in a first-person shooter, mobility is everything. So after a few annoying "wait, go kill those guys" quests, our hero finally makes it to the mystery hotel where all the answers have been promised to him. His briefing is basically, this place has always kind of sucked, but now it sucks more. People are killing people, so go kill them. Here's some C4. Bye-bye. That's really about it. People are killing people, but that's our job. So go kill them.
They took our jobs!
So he goes back out and bravely kills anyone who has a gun, which in this game is everyone. It's Schwarzenegger-style diplomacy at its finest. Don't stop shooting until everyone else stops twitching. So our hero bravely charges back out, gunning down anyone who crosses his line of sight, when he comes across that great unstoppable barrier that he needed those high-powered explosives for. It's a gate. A rusty old gate with a chain and padlock. Doesn't look like the kind of thing that needs C4. Doesn't look like the kind of thing that needs a bullet. Looks like it probably knocked down with a couple good kicks. Hell, there aren't even any scraps of the gate left, which means that the gate was completely and utterly obliterated, vaporized by this explosive. Either that or the programmers were just getting lazy. Perish the thought. So we move on to the next area, where the objective is to take out local militia who have been taking out military targets. Did anyone bother to proofread this damn thing? You know what's worse? Our main character tracks down the head of this particular branch of the militia, kills him with several mines, which means that this guy's actually tougher than the damn gate we just got through, gets some information from a GPS, which the game even acknowledges shouldn't be there.
The militia's supposed to be low-tech, pretty much no electronics. But this commander has encrypted GPS? Ah, I've got some coordinates out of it. Let's check them, see what's so important it needs this sort of technology. It's gonna get messier out there, though. The army's attacking to retake the city.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Kill this guy because he's leading a branch of the militia that's killing military units. Now, military units are standing between Mr. Hero and his objective, so gun down military units? He does! He totally just mows his way on through to get to his objective. Sorry, I hate repeating a joke, especially in the second episode, but that's really what it feels like. I hate American stereotyping, I really do. But that's what it feels like here. It's the big American organization that comes in because those guys are killing guys, and if anyone's going to be killing anyone, it's us.
Hooah!
As we exit the second level, you might notice that the hero has just been a little bit underdeveloped. I haven't mentioned a name. I haven't shown his face. That's because this information has been lost to a dreaded place known as the cutting room floor. I found some sources that maintain that his name is actually Jackson, and he looks like Hollywood heartthrob Chris Pine. This is all speculation, though, as all dialogue by or about our main character, other than "you're alive," has been carefully extracted. Not to make room for anything else, just completely cut. Brief glimpses can be caught when he's killed of his face or the back of his head, but only enough to really tell that he is in fact a him. Something else that keeps popping up in this game are the skill kills. Kind of like the controversial skill shots in the vastly superior game released only 6 months prior, Bulletstorm. However, there are a few subtle differences. Whereas in Bulletstorm they had such creative titles as Stomach Pump, Sadist, and Splatterpunk, Bodycount has such timeless classic titles as Grenade, Headshot, and Near Death. Also in Bulletstorm, these skill shots have a use. They build up the equivalent of money so that you can purchase upgrades for your weapons. In Bodycount, they add to your multiplier, which fixes your score, which is only useful if you want to compare to the other 3 people who post their body count score online. So Blanderella travels to a mine that's drawing an abnormal amount of energy, considering the militia doesn't use any technology, except for that super advanced encrypted GPS that they mentioned earlier, but we'll never mention again. Whatever. Why the last Bland charges in, guns blazing, and upon properly destroying every single non-English speaking person in the area, the game opts to take a hard left turn, with the discovery of what appears to be an alien ship. Hero Boy is told to explore, and by explore, I mean comb the entire place for people to kill and something that might make a big explosion. Not wanting to disobey direct orders, Ned Blanders does just that, coming across a group of people that look oddly like they have soup cans on their heads. They, much like the military and militia before, instantly hate the Bland One, and the Bland One decides to just hate him right back. People die, mysterious explosives are found, and even though Earpiece, who doesn't get a name or personality either, seems very surprised that these explosives are here, and even though...
These are COMAP devices, advanced gel charges. A couple turned up in the Balkans after a failed sabotage attempt. Haven't been able to trace them through regular channels. Good news, they'll definitely take care of that door.
Yeah, that audio wasn't edited at all. She actually said, "Wow, these explosives are the exact same as the ones that we can't trace." But rather than scan them, bring some in for testing, or, I don't know, explore the general area to find more information to link these people to more unexplainable events, let's use them to blow up the damn door. Alright. For any viewers out there who aren't American, I just want to lend a little context here. This man...
From what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
Was an elected official. After saying these, on a news program, he ran for re-election. He lost, but he ran for re-election. The Republican Party said, we cannot find anyone better than this man to run for office. Now, I don't want to make this political. I really don't. That's not my goal here, and anyone who tries to make it political down here in the comment section will get a hearty chortle out of me. I just wanted to bring this up to lend context to this sentence. I don't believe that there is any way anyone in the U.S. government, in their employ, is this friggin' stupid. I mean, if you have evidence to link an organization to an unexplained incident halfway across the world, your first reaction shouldn't be,
That'll blow up real nice.
but Blandenstein, incapable of forming an intelligent thought, uses the explosives to break on through to the other side, where he guns down everyone and, without anything to show for his efforts, escapes this really complex, really advanced military facility. He doesn't take anything. Not a piece of armor, not an advanced weapon. He doesn't even bother to stop and take an ID badge. He just walks in and goes, "Hey, what's in here? Cool, gotta go."
You went full retard, man.
As old Blandy escapes a close call with a major military find, the game takes another hard left turn.
Activated.
Blandy's mission, should he choose to accept it, is to track down the local military leader and warn him.
The target track.
Not kill him, warn him of the danger he is in with these soup can things. Why Blandy didn't go ahead and take some of these really powerful explosives and plant them at strategic points in the base and blow it sky high, thereby eliminating, or at least crippling, said soup cans, is beyond me. It's a question too deep for this plot, trust me. So Mr. Blanderson is off to find someone not to shoot, as he runs through the first level in reverse. No, seriously, Earpiece actually points out the mysterious Hotel O exposition as you run through, and a length-padding side quest that goes nowhere.
We're clear, but the militia was coming at us. There's no other reason to attack this building apart from the support point. This has to be the target organization. If they're onto us, they'll be tracing the network. We should work fast. Find that major.
As our buddy approaches the one person in the game that he has been told that he is under no circumstances supposed to shoot, the game kind of becomes aware that it is not capable of supporting, friendly AI. And so, Earpiece puts together some half-cocked excuse as to why this man must die. It is seriously some of the laziest, worst writing I have ever come across in a video game. that included. So Blandosaurus kills a guy that was totally his friend, and then totally wasn't, only to find enemy intel on him that leads him to another base that will surely be another fountain of missed militaristic opportunity. But first, they give him the most badass of special moves, which in this game is really not saying anything. They give him the ability to rain down an airstrike on anyone who looks at him the wrong way. Of course, the game can't take such an awesome step forward without taking at least 2 steps back, so the second the Duke of Blandville's boots hit the ground, they take it away from him.
Air support unavailable.
Not available. Have to save that for the inevitable boss fight. So he traipses his way through level 2 all over again, accessing an area that wasn't available the first time. Begging the question, why recycle the beginning of the level? In a game like this, about a top-secret terrorist organization, the last thing you want to do is make it feel small. This game should feel huge, and this just avoids it. Anyways, military personnel are senselessly slaughtered, but it's the Americans doing it, so it's okay.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
After enough butchering, we're introduced to the first boss fight of the game.
If you value your life, run.
That is all the intro we're given. But clocking in at 4 seconds, it does give her 4 seconds more personality than Senor Blandrigas over here. Seriously, she looks like a cross between a soup can head and that chick from Man of Steel. She's not given a name or a personality either, so I'll just call her the Grand High Soup Can. So our hero shoots the Grand High Soup Can, siphoning off intel so that he can use the airstrike to take out 3 towers that don't really seem to do anything, in a mission that takes way too long considering how bad this game is at this point. Miles Blandish then makes a mad dash for the door, completely ignoring the closest thing to a villain we've had so far, who is then hit by a drone. Well, she was interesting while she lasted. She survives? How does that work? Huh. Alright. So Blando Calrissian accesses the base, which pretty much looks identical to the last base. I'm not even sure it's a different one. Here he does little more than cut some soup cans in half and plant a virus to access the network. But when the shockingly advanced computers turn out to be shockingly advanced, they start tracking the data worm, leading Earpiece to say,
Shutting down data links. They're not tracing this back to me.
So first Earpiece does this bit,
Oh, you're alive.
and now she's...
They're not tracing this back to me.
Aren't these people required to have any kind of bedside manner? I mean, seriously, could she make it sound like she's not going to cut Bland Man loose at the first sign of trouble? I mean, what is this company's motto? When the going gets tough, we must be going? I mean, cripes! So some weird British chick, who may or may not be the one who got the drone enema at the end of last scene, hijacks the communication equipment, which could presumably be used to track Earpiece's location. It's not like she shuts up for the rest of the level. But instead opts to tell our hero,
We let you live once. We will not make that mistake again.
apparently she can't do anything more than communicate in 4-second clips. But anyways, rather than sending in all the men she has, trying to capture or kill him, or at least instantly blowing up the building, she opts to put it on a timer that gives him just enough time to get out. And get out he does, fleeing Africa in as bloody and destructive a way as possible. So we see our hero's job assessment as they try... Wait a second. 58,254 expected dead? Crap, when I heard this game was called Bodycount, I didn't think they meant maximizing the body count. So basically, Blanderman completely failed in his mission. Never mind the fact that he went where they told him to go, shot who they told him to shoot, and blew up exactly what they told him to blow up. All assets and intel lost. Well, maybe this is where he develops a character. Maybe he develops a personality and decides he doesn't care what his bosses say. He's going to go rogue, and he's going to go out there and he's going to stop this organization. Or they just send him right back in with no repercussions whatsoever. Good writing. So he finds himself back in his little egg thing somewhere in China. Ah, China. It's a beautiful country. Wonderful history. Lots of beautiful scenery. Let's see if this is any better than Africa was. Nope. It's gray, with a few lanterns scattered about for flavor, maybe a neon sign here or there. Earpiece still has her job, despite the fact that she clearly doesn't care about the person that she's monitoring.
We didn't get any definitive proof of the target's activities in Africa.
Because you opted not to look for any.
And we need something concrete, or they'll just cover it up.
Like you could have gotten if you'd investigated their base.
At least our actions in Tsanga resulted in the world taking notice. Peacekeepers are moving in now. We've done a little good. Let's do a greater good.
But not nearly as much as if you just brought a flash drive when you'd first got... You know what? I'm adding this to the list with comic book timelines and comic book deaths as stuff that I'm just not even going to try to comprehend. It's just in its own little weird alien world that scares and confuses me. Blandford continues collecting intel, and by collecting, I mean off the corpses of the dead enemies that he has brutally slaughtered. Though really, with AI this terrible, it's hard to blame him. Blandus Maximus manages to find the entrance to another bunker located inside an ice house, where we're treated to a cutscene where he has apparently fallen down with blurry vision. Well, he's been running around in the rain. I suppose that'll wreak havoc on anyone's health. Oh, so it has something to do with the Grand High soup can. We're sure it's never explained how she survived? Alright, so she can just, like, press a button and suddenly our hero's in a phenomenal amount of pain. Is that ever explained? Okay. Alright, so the network has completely been wiped out. Is that ever explained?
I thought you were all dead. I know you were all dead. I killed the last of you. Time for you to join the rest of the network. Welcome to your place in history.
Wait, so she's confronted with something that shouldn't exist, that she has personally eradicated, and she doesn't want to do a little follow-up with it, doesn't want to do a more in-depth interrogation, doesn't want to maybe hold him captive to see if maybe someone who does know something decides to show up. At the very least, she doesn't want to stick around just to make sure the execution goes properly, to make sure that these 20 soldiers do better than the hundreds of soldiers that he's already cut his way through. The one person who can stop him quite literally with the push of a button decides to just leave everything to chance. This is a masterpiece of lazy writing. Not just bad, it's lazy. If it had just been fleshed out just a little bit more, we could be led to believe that under certain circumstances, these people would behave in this manner. But it was just left dangling there. It feels like the writers took a break for lunch, and someone came in, saw the notes that were left behind, and assumed it was a finished script. Seriously, a Bond villain wouldn't be this lazy. A caricature of a Bond villain would at least play it through to a good punchline, but she doesn't. She just walks away and leaves it to chance. It's not funny, it's just bad.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just going to assume it all went to plan. What?
So of course he escapes. He's killed hundreds of these guys already. He's not going to let 20 get in his way. And he finds his way onto the enemy base where there is, of course, the exact right machine to reverse whatever it is that the Grand High Soup Can did to Bland Solo. Sure, there's obstacles along the way, but he solves it in the same way he solves everything. Shooting everything in sight until the solution presents itself. That's right. This game has actually taken the term shoot first, ask questions later, and put it into practice. Round about this point, Earpiece gets discovered.
We found a little hiding place right under our noses. One of ours gone bad. Hidden in a bunker like this had cancer at our core.
So wait, she was in an enemy bunker the entire time? Did I hear that right? She was in an enemy bunker the entire time. Couldn't she have gotten access to where the next enemy bunker might be? Wouldn't that be a possibility? By her not doing that, didn't that seriously just cause the loss of hundreds of lives? Isn't that massively illegal? Do we ever see this earpiece lady answer for her crimes? Ah, shut up, I know the answer. None of this happens to occur to Blanson, however, as he helps get the hit squad off of her back so that she can disappear forever, leaving him in the somewhat capable hands of the other members of the network who shouldn't exist. Seriously, he keeps getting intel from them, but they don't exist. They, of course, without the use of encrypted GPS packets or enemy intel, are able to tell him exactly where the next enemy base is, sending our hero on his way so he can find the magical flash drive that will bring an end to this overly long plot. So he guns his way through, killing enough soup cans to make another Andy Warhol masterpiece, until he stumbles upon the data core, which, of course, the Grand High Soup Can decides to purge as soon as he gets there.
Now you see it.
Data core purged. Data core unavailable.
Now you don't.
Guess who has a plan for just such an occasion? If you guessed Blandy McBland, or any of the other stupid names I've called him, you'd be wrong. Really, if you guessed anyone else, you'd be wrong too. No one could have possibly foreseen such a dastardly brilliant move as hitting the delete key. It's foolproof. So the Grand High Soup Can tries to spout some exposition to lend some depth to the character.
You should just tell me where she is, you know. She hasn't done you any good, though you didn't really help yourself either, did you? Signing up for something you knew nothing about. Now that was stupid.
Quick question. Delving back into that forbidden land that is body count logic. If Earpiece and Blandina here are the last two members of the network, where's all this intel coming from? Where are these weapon drops coming from? Seriously, he's been getting weapon drops just about every level. And these airstrikes, where are those coming from? Either Grand High Soup Can is a friggin' liar and there's actually a large organization behind this, or Earpiece is siphoning off resources from Grand High Soup Can's organization, and she was just too stupid to figure it out. It's never explained, and either possibility is equally likely. While gunning down wave upon wave of faceless soup can, Marlon Blando here discovers that the enemy's main base is located on an island, known simply as the Island. I swear I'm not trying to start a trend here. It just so happens that X-Men Origins Wolverine and Bodycount had the same naming standards, I guess. So the world's blandest man makes his way to the island, where even the plot seems to just give up. Seriously, most levels have mid-level objectives. Defuse the bomb, find the intel, get the data core. This one just says, there's a door at the other end of the level, just get to it and we'll move on to the next thing. I mean, I feel the same way, trust me, but it'd be nice if the game could at least pretend to care. And it's really too bad because visually this level's interesting. An old boatyard that's kind of rusting and falling apart. If they'd had a level like this earlier on in the game, I might have forgotten not to care. As is, it just feels kind of thrown in there at the end and rushed. Seriously, once you get to the end, Breaking Bland here doesn't even have to kill all the enemies. He just runs into the door and they disappear by the time the next level starts. Back in a generic-looking bunker, Blandra D finds the backup of the data core, even though he apparently has no idea who to report to or what to do with it once he finds it. That doesn't matter, though, as there's more soup cans to kill. I really wish there was more to say here, especially as close as we are to the end of the game. This is where a lot of plot points should be coming to an end, but really, he just grabs the data core, grabs the self-destruct codes that just happen to be sitting in the same room, and runs. He somehow manages to clear the 5 mile blast radius on this thing in the couple minutes provided to get out and away. Because, I guess, creating an explanation would have required hiring the writing squad on for one more day. I guess they were paid by the hour. This all leads to a final showdown with the Grand High Soup Can that is predictably bland and boring. Seriously, this game managed to make a fight where you shoot someone repeatedly with missiles boring and repetitive. After a couple hits, she goes down. A poor choice of words, but if Bodycount can't bother with rewrites, why should I? And she delivers a couple generic villain lines.
There is still only you. There is no network. You are alone.
And that's it. No explanation of how his blandness gets home. No explanation of what happened to the network. No look at who the Grand High Soup Can might have been. No explanation of the broad-reaching effects politically that this information might have had, if it ever even got leaked. Nothing. Nothing. Roll credits. This game sucks. Now, it sucks. Right down to its very core, this is a bad game. With a non-existent plot, the most non-existent I've seen since Nintendo. Horrible gameplay, a running time between 4 and 4.5 hours. There is nothing redeeming in this game. I can't think of a single nice thing to say. I mean, I guess the cutscenes are alright. I mean, when they bother to show up. The lip syncing is pretty spot on. But really, if the best part of your game is the part that I'm not playing, you have an issue. At least I can say it's a pretty forgettable game, so at the very least, it's not haunting me for a long time. I'm the Geek with the Gab. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got some gaming to do.